Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Mandy, and I'm hoping to do a bloom on this little 10-inch MDF round. I had to thicken up some of my paints, so I'm unfortunately probably going to have some bubbles, but we're going to give it a go and see. So I'm wanting to use some of the fluorescent colors in conjunction with some darker colors. I'm not sure which ones are going to make the cut, so I'm going to kind of show you as I go, I think. I only have like a smidge of Australian red violet left in my cup, so I need to mix some more. So I kind of thought I would use it as a topper for this little guy for some contrast. So I need to make some more. So I'm going to use a white pillow paint. I'm going to use this fluorescent orange yellow at the bottom. I have to thicken it up, and now I might have gotten it too thick. I'm going to use fluorescent red. These are from Colourarte, by the way. I had to thicken this one up too, so you see all the bubbles, because I haven't used either of these. So I'm going to use those two colors from the fluorescents. There may be some more involved, I'm not sure yet. I'm also still trying to decide if I want to use a white or black cell activator. So, you know, there's a lot up in the air right now. I have, if I do black, I have Cobalt Teal over here and some white to drizzle under the black. And if I did just that, that probably would be kind of cool. So for some sparkle, I'm gonna add, what is this called? Summer Solstice. It's a little too thin, but not too bad. So I'm going to add that, and maybe some Harvest Fire, which was too thick, and I just thinned it down, and so now it has a ton of bubbles. So I'm not sure, but I might use those for some sparkle. And I'm still torn. I also thought about adding alizarin rose in this mix, but that may be too many pinky type things. I also thought about incorporating either fluorescent purple or red violet, which would actually go pretty nicely with this, or blue, but I tend to use too many colors. So, and this is the problem when you don't get to paint that often. You want to paint with everything and all of the things all at one time, and it's just not reasonable. So you can see my pillow paint here is a little bit separated, so I'm going to very gently stir it to avoid introducing more bubbles. I mean, you can't entirely avoid that, but this is PPG Multi Pro in Eggshell. And you might be thinking, well, if you want to use all the colors, just do two blooms. Well, I like the way you think. However, I may not have enough room on my table in there. So let me back you up just a little bit. And I just put a flood coat on a geode. And so this is kind of a quickie before I chill for the night bloom, you know? So if you are new, welcome. I would love it if you would subscribe and continue to come back. I'm using the Sheleeart bloom technique today. In the world of acrylic flooring, this is generally considered a quote-unquote advanced technique, but that doesn't always apply. Some people pick it up and immediately do well with this technique. But if you're curious, sorry, I bubbled. If you're curious what I use, I do have a tutorial in the description box. I don't always use the same thing, but it's a good baseline guide for, you know, what kind of paint you should pick for a pillow paint. And what I've used in the past for my pouring medium. So obviously we evolve over time, right? So how you get it done might change, and you might change up your product sometimes. Stop standing here. My dog's trying to wander. Anyway, but there's a lot of stuff in the tutorial or in the description box, including all of my discount links and stuff. So definitely check it out. I'm using a lot of Colourarte today. You can save 20% on anything Colourarte using Mandy1120. And Colourarte has the coolest thing going on right now where you can create your own bundle and get a deeper discount. So if you're like, I've been wanting to buy blah blah blah, I may use Cobalt Teal, by the way, for a long time, well, you might get a better deal if you consolidate. And so that's pretty cool. That always works for someone like me. I will buy it all at the same time if I'm going to get a better deal. So if that's you too, just know that that is new on Colourarte.com. For my cell activator, I always use Australian Floetrol, and Pixel Paint Designs offers my viewers a discount of 10% using Mandy10, all caps. That link is also below. So don't forget to check the description box out below for some cool stuff. So without further ado, let's get going. So this one is going to be our bottom layer, and it is still too thin. So that is concerning. So the problem if your bloom paints are too thin, and there's a glob in this paint, I think we're just going to let it live, is sometimes it causes your design to shift a lot. and causes your cell structure to be wobbly, which I hate that. So, sorry, sip of coffee. I think on top of this, we're going to put a smidge of the Summer Solstice. So the way this will demonstrate in the pour will probably be pretty similar to a gold. And I'm going to gently drizzle some of the Harvest Fire because it's too thick, so we won't be able to put it in a big puddle. And we really have it in here for some color and some sparkle, right? So now we're going to do the Fluorescent Red. Typically a magenta or a red or even like an orangey red on top of a yellow like that makes some really cool cells. I might have messed that up by putting the pigments there, but oh well, what's done is done. And I think I am going to go a wee bit rogue and put in some, oops, I can't find my doodads. I think I'm going to put some Fluorescent Red Violet, which is kind of like a fluorescent fuchsia, right here, because it just seems like it'll go nicely right there. You know what I mean? Seems like it would just be a nice touch. So just like I just said, I have a hard time sticking to the basics. And then stupid bubbles. Okay. And I'm really torn about whether or not to include a blue. Part of me thinks it would be a nice touch because these colors are going to be slightly transparent, so having a little contrast near the top would be cool. All right, we're going to add a little bit. This is the fluorescent blue from Colourarte. The Colourarte colors that are not sparkly are fluid acrylics, and they're so great. So the most recent set is the fluorescent ones, but there's also some opal ones and some metallic ones. So the Summer Solstice is a primary element, which is like a dry paint and pigment combo, and the Harvest Soul is a bling it color, which is like a mica. So I know that all of my sparklies are down there, so I'm gonna just very gently incorporate some of this up here, but not too much. Okay, so anyway, we're using a variety of things today. All right, next up, we're gonna use Australian Red Violet. This is also a fluid acrylic, and this is from Matisse. And it is hands down one of my favorite colors ever on the planet. And a similar color would be quinacridone violet, like from Golden. But this one is a little bit more pink than that, and so, but it is similar. And Amsterdam makes a red violet. It's not as pretty as this one, but there are similar red violets. So I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. Okay, now we are going to do the Cobalt Teal. And first I'm going to drizzle some white. And I'm doing this in this section because I think I am going to use a black cell activator. And so by putting these near the top, that's way more white than I intended, we are helping ensure that we have enough contrast for a black cell activator. So Cobalt Teal seems to have some titanium white in it. So it's a nice, I think it's opaque, teal. And it's nice under a black cell activator to help have enough contrast, because that red violet will dry kind of dark. So that's the method to my madness. Plus it's a nice pop of a contrasting color that is still complementary. I've been wanting to experiment to see if I can take the fluorescent blue green from Colourarte and add a little titanium white in it and make Cobalt Teal. Leslie has a Cobalt Aqua and it's very similar. So I bet you I can do some cool hat tricks and make it happen. Make sure you can still see what I'm doing before I get my head right in the way. A little rusty on blowing blooms out, so don't be judging me. Also, I should have already done this. And I have too much pillow paint, so whatever I do will probably expand like madness as it spins out, which, whatever. Okay. Okay, I'm using Lamp Black Cell Activator, using Australian Floetrol with my paint, and the paint I'm using is M Gram, but you could use Amsterdam too. And I get my paint from Blick, and I have a link to Blick in my description box. No unique discounts, but if you shop through our link, it does help our channel, which is always appreciated. Okay, so I can't let this sink very long, but I do see a couple of problematic bubbles. Okay. Uh-oh. This is not going well. I'm having a terrible blow. Anyway, I'm trying to fix it. I blew too hard initially, and so I wasn't getting good coverage, and then I was running out of cell activator, so I'm trying to rescue it. Oh, crap. That didn't help much. This is going to be problematic right there, but we'll come back to that. Okay. I think we have enough pillow paint on here where this will still be okay, but this part's going to bug me. Okay. So I was a turkey baster. I'm just trying to break up the middle, and I really still need to do something with this, and I'm trying to like move the design over. Cover up what I did wrong there, but it's like whatever I'm doing is not helping. So it may be a flop. Oh well. Let's see. Okay, so in case you're new to Bloom, sometimes if you have some leftover cell activator, you can grab the edge of it and kind of skid it across your colors, and that's what I was trying to do. But unfortunately, it's not working out. And we have beautiful colors in here, but really crazy cell structure. So let me see if I can fix it. And if I can't, we'll scrape it and go again. Because sometimes like the first bloom after you've gotten a little rusty, see, that's going to have way too much color in one spot. Sometimes that one's like gonna be a flop, you know, but the color combo is really quite delightful. And I don't know, I think everything I'm doing now is in vain. So let me see where this is gonna land. I say it's gonna be in vain, and then I keep messing with it. I guess my thought process with that is if I end up having this weird something somewhere, if I don't have it anywhere else, it's gonna make it even weirder, I guess. Anyway. I've been doing resin for the last week or two, so I haven't really done anything with blooms in a minute, and I can tell. I'm wondering if I should have eliminated one of those colors. I don't know, I kind of like I'm getting some mud, obviously, because they don't all play well together, but I kind of like the combo. Like, look at the cells. I can't show you, but like, right, I can't show you, I'm about to drip on here. But the cells are amazing. If I could just do something with that part. And if I tilt at this point, it's going to make what's nice wonky. And I don't, oh crap, hold on. I got house paint in my color over here. I gotta get it out before it gets in the tub. Goodness. Can't take me anywhere. Okay. I want to give it a chance, but this is going to be messy. So as much as it pains me, we're going to scrape it. And I kind of want to save this paint, but I'm not going to do that either. Man, that is tempting to save it though. It's a lot of paint. It's going to be messy. It's just, I can always get it off the puppy pad in a minute. I know that's difficult. Okay, now what I have to decide is, am I going to use all the same colors or not? So I kind of liked them together, so I guess I'm going to lean toward yes. I'll put on some more gloves. Scrapey, scrapey. So when you're blowing in the center, for those of you who are still learning, which even though I've done these for years already, I'm still learning. There's a couple ways you can blow your center out, but ideally you want to get close enough to expand that hole and then pull your head back to broaden your breath. Now you can pull it back or you can lean to the side, which, you know, Lisa Marvin does a great job of that. Every time I try to do it, it doesn't work well. Like Shelly pulls her head back. So like you have to figure out what works for you. I'm sure with more practice that would work for me. I'm just impatient in the process. But I know you can't see because I don't have multiple camera angles when I'm doing it, but that's kind of the idea, is you want to expand it and then pull back so that you're expanding the reach of your breath, if that makes sense. What causes us to get those, and I say us because it includes me, what causes us to get those little narrow fingerlings is the scope of our breath is too narrow. So that's why that works so well when you adjust your breath. Now I have too much pillow paint in here, and that is part of the problem also. So if you notice when I was blowing, and maybe you couldn't tell, but when I was blowing down into that, I was going into the paint and it was sinking into the paint. Well, if your pillow, you want enough pillow paint where it can glide, but not so much that, I need to pop these bubbles, but not so much that you that you just have, that basically when you blow into it, it goes into the trenches. I mean, look at how much extra I have. So my paint has probably just gotten thicker. So when it's coming out of the can, instead of being the consistency that it was when I poured it in, it's probably gotten thicker. So you're probably like, I already know this. But for people who are learning and who are new, some of the most frustrating things sometimes when you're having a bad painting day is trying to figure out what the crap is wrong. Like, is it my paint? Is it my blow? Is it operator error? Is it my pillow? Is it, and if your pillow's too thick, it can cause problems too. So all of those things matter in this technique, and I guess that's why so many people call it advanced, because if you're, you know, a beginner and you're trying to do something that's kind of easy to figure out, this may not be that, you know what I mean? Okay, so there's lots of bubbles in here from me messing with it, but let's just go again. And I'm on the fence as to whether or not I'm going to include the Harvest Fire this time. I'm kind of tempted to just use all of our colors. I don't know, let me do it exactly the same. The only thing I may do different is not put this up toward the top, because that's where we have the most opportunity for mud. So this Harvest Fire is really cool. It has kind of a nickel azo gold color. So it's going to be one of those colors that works great with other colors, which is why I thought it would be cool here. So Fluorescent Red. I do feel like it kind of masks the Fluorescent Red, so maybe the first time I used it I shouldn't have put that right underneath it where it's kind of making it brown. But it's there, so stop it. I am going to put a smidge of the Harvest Fire. And the Harvest Fire is kind of a fluorescent red corally color. It's not fluorescent, but it's kind of got that fluorescent-y feel. Okay, the Fluorescent Red Violet, which is kind of a fuchsia. Really dig it. And I need to be careful to not pile on my paint so much that my puddle is too big, or too deep. I can't talk today. All right, and then we're going to put a little bit of the blue, maybe a little bit less than what we put the last time. And this will probably finish off our Australian Red Violet, so I can mix some more. I need to have a paint mixing party over here. The problem is, like, I'm hesitant to mix new paint because I need to use up some paint, but there are some colors that I always have mixed up, and this is one of them. But I suppose I could force myself to use other colors so that, you know, before I mix this one up. Man, I'm tempted to just use this all, but it's going to take over. But I want to use it, you know? It's boop-a-doo. Okay, whatever. I did it. I used it. Maybe not all of it, but enough to let it air out. And... all right, now we're going to do the white and the cobalt teal. And then we're going to blow this bad boy out. So if you notice, I didn't add any more pigment up toward the top, so that's the one thing we did differently here. That should allow the shimmer to come through without mixing too much up here. This white is a wee bit thick. I think that this white is a mixture of the Colourarte and Matisse because I had 2 tubs and one was running out, so I just consolidated them. And the cobalt teal is golden. And I love cobalt teal with Australian red violet. I think they are so fun together. It's also great with purple, magenta. It's just altogether a very versatile color. All right, drizzle, drizzle, drizzle. All right. And then black cell activator. And let's all hope for a better result. The first one was crappy. Like sometimes I just need a day to like just stand here and do this kind of stuff for hours, because when you only get like a 30-minute window or something, it feels like that's when everything doesn't go quite as well. All right. It's too thick. Yikes. Okay, better, but still not awesome. Okay, I gotta fix that. Okay, a lot better. I mean, 50,000 times better. But still, there were some places where it just was like not gliding. So my cell activator is also oldish, so it could also be that it's too thick. So with the turkey base baster, in case I didn't explain that earlier, I'm just breaking up where we have a lot of cell activator in the middle, because sometimes if you have too much in the middle, it's almost like it swims into your stuff. It's like it creates a little river. Okay. Those like thick bands of color can be kind of problematic, so I was trying to break those up, but it's like it's so thick. Even the paint's thick. Even my pillow paint's thick. It's a weird painting day. Okay, so I'm not going to do too much. I just kind of want to interrupt the lines of color here in case some of them stick around, because they're very blocky. And that's not really what I'm going for. I wish I could do something with this. Well, that didn't help. Let's hope that spins off, because that's perhaps worse than the original problem. Oh, that helped a little. Okay, so all right, let's just go for it. Colors are really cool. Less mud by not putting pigments up toward the top, and we still have some sparkle. So, woohoo! Let's gently spin. It is off center. I don't know how. I think my spinner must be crooked somehow. Tempted to move it so it hopefully will spin more. Whoa! How catastrophic can one little bloom try to be to me today? Let me not tint it, right? So I'm gonna try to move it closer to this other side and see if we can't get some more to spin this way. I never really try to correct that way, but I'm hopeful that it will help. So far, I'm not that impressed. But the idea is that you're, you know, putting more of the gravity over here. At least that's the idea. And I'm tempted to tilt it this way. The only problem is that has a tendency to mess up your cell structure because it doesn't all move at the same pace. And so that may backfire for me. But I love the colors. See, tilting it already made some of my cells wonky. I love the colors. I don't have my puppy pool out, so I'm trying to protect my paint that I did not move. If I can just get this to the edge, this will be really pretty. All these bubbles keep coming up in my pillow paint. I really like to use those kinds of yellow colors in the bottom layer. Oh, look, we're making progress. Because it creates such beauty with the cells. These cells, the cells in the middle would be even nicer if I hadn't tilted it like that, because they're starting to wobble a little bit, but I still think it's nice. And we're probably going to reach our desired goal of getting it to the edge, without having the random white negative space that doesn't make sense. I don't mind negative space if it makes sense, but there's some places, like this looks rough right here. I kind of want to, I won't notice it as much if we get all the negative white off. Unfortunately, moving all of the paint around in the beginning gave me some bubbles. I don't want to bore you guys with bubbles, but I'm covered in paint and I'm just not going to waste more gloves. I've already wasted on this thing. And my little tweezers are dirty. So, whatever, here we are. We're almost there. This did help me get the paint to the edge over here. Maybe not as dramatically as I expected, but it did help to shift it a little bit. I know some of you are always reminding me I can do that, and I know that, but I don't do it. You know what I mean? So I think we've gotten rid of almost all of the ugly parts. Most of the ugly is right here. So let me give it another good spin or two, because there is a lot of paint on there. No. What I'm trying to do here is obsessively deal with that color, that like ribbon of color, so it's not so ribbony. I don't mind ribbons when they're the intent, but it's not the intent here. So I have to look for it now to find it. So no, now I know exactly where it is, but it won't be as big of an eyesore now. So I guess my point is, I'm gonna call this a win. Is it perfect? No. Did we have some challenges? Yes. I'm going to waste some more gloves, clean up some bubbles, and bring you down for a close-up. But the colors are really cool together, and we have a lot of color here without having mud. And I think the pop of Cobalt Teal is a nice touch. I think the blue added a nice touch. So I'm going to show it to you up close. It'll be really pretty under resin because it does have just a subtle shimmer from the pigments on the bottom. So I had to work for it, but it's okay. So here's my pile of paint. Sad. I may scrape it up before y'all get mad at me. So here she is. I think this is actually pretty similar to a bloom I did a while back with different colors, but they were bright. I think it's really pretty. My favorite part is this little cluster of cells right here. And then over here, like, those are really amazing. So you have to let me know what you think. Was it worth the failed it, sort of nailed it? No, we didn't nail it, but was it worth the effort, do you think? You can see the sparkle, the subtle sparkle in there. The Harvest Fire has bigger particulates, so it's gonna pop through a little bit more aggressively, but it's subtle even in the white parts. Anyway, I think it was worth it. You have to let me know what you think, but thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out the description box, Appreciate everyone. Bye.